If you've spent any time on this channel whatsoever, you would know that I like two things, not including FNAF. That's right, I'm a huge fan of the Mario series and a big fan of Minecraft as well. I mean, my favorite game of all time is Mario Odyssey, and Minecraft is in third place. Second place is Smash Ultimate, but that's because it has both of my goats. Now it just needs number 3. As these are my favorite franchises, I've obviously made a ton of videos on both, but that got me thinking about possibly combining my two interests into one video. After all, on YouTube it's probably not recommended to split your audience, so why not try bringing both sides together here? Well, that got me thinking back to the time Mario and Minecraft actually had an official collab, not including Smash. If you have either the Wii U or Nintendo Switch version of Minecraft, you'll gain access to the Super Mario Mashup Pack. This will change all of the textures in the game to resemble things from the Mario series. Painting to look like those from Mario 64, mushrooms of course match the Mario power-up, and so on. There are so many references in this pack, and to me the most interesting come in the form of the mobs. These all change their look to match characters from the Mario series, and some of them are really cool. What's also great is the fact that to this day, the Mashup Pack is still being updated as Minecraft gets more features. Going based off of spawn eggs plus the 2 main bosses, there are 80 different mobs in Minecraft right now. But with so many mobs, some retextures were bound to be worse than others, so today I thought it would be fun to rank all 80 mobs in the Mario Mashup Pack from the worst to the best. This is going to be a purely aesthetic ranking as we're judging the mobs based on how well the texture was done and how fitting of a reference it is. I'll make sure to cover every single origin in this video, so even if you don't care about the rankings, hopefully it'll still be interesting to see where these guys all come from. Man, I have no idea what this guy could be. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. As always, we're going to do this video in the form of a tier list. I especially wanted to do it here since I felt like it was really hard getting an exact order between these tiers. So if 2 mobs are in the same one, they're very close to being tied, though I did do my best to order it. To begin this video, we're obviously going to be starting with not the F tier. You see, there are actually 2 mobs that are so awful they belong off the tier list. I'm sure you all are desperately trying to think of what mobs this could possibly be. It's the Bogdan and Breeze, they haven't been updated yet. Yeah, so these 2 are both going to be 80th and 79th respectively, since they are the exact same as their base game counterparts. Yes, the Mashup Pack is still being updated, it's just not in perfect sync with Minecraft's actual updates, so these 2 may take a while. Interestingly though, the Mario Wiki did have retextures for these 2 guys, but I have absolutely no idea where they could be coming from. I mean, they look kinda cool, but I'm not even sure if they're official, so I'm just gonna put these guys at the bottom. Also, as you might be able to tell, sorry if this video's footage is very different from my normal Minecraft stuff. Since the Mario Mashup Pack is only on Bedrock Edition, I have to record on that, which I'm not very experienced with. So enjoy this sort of nature documentary style video as I fly around the mobs in creative mode. Oh no, if only I could do something to help. But alright, now it's actually time for our F tier. This is composed of 3 mobs that I do not like the look of. Every other mob in this video is at least pleasant to look at, but these 3 drop the ball. So as my actual least favorite retexture, we have 78, the Iron Golem. Yeah, this thing looks like a mess. I had no idea what this guy was even supposed to be, but according to the wiki, it's Mega Hammer from Mario Galaxy 2. Now to be fair, Mario Galaxy 2 is a bit of a Mario blind spot for me since I haven't gone back to the game since it came out, but even knowing the reference, no. It just doesn't do a good job replicating the look. But on top of just looking bad normally, the texture is broken. They forgot to put anything on the top of this guy's head, so it just looks like an empty husk. Yeah, this is a pretty clear last place. Maybe you could give it credit for a somewhat obscure reference, but when it turned out like this, I don't think I can. Well, luckily the next one isn't broken, just super ugly. 77, the Cave Spider. Yeah, this is just another one that looks like a completely broken mess. It's supposed to be Tarantox from Super Mario Galaxy. Now I know it's a bit here that I don't like Mario Galaxy, but I mean come on, even if you like the game, you have to agree that this is pretty rough. They tried to put the eyes on the top of the head instead of the front, so all around it just looks wrong. At least I can understand why they would try for this reference, seeing as Tarantox is a spider, but once again, it just didn't work. Obviously the Scuttlebug is being taken by the normal spider, which we'll see soon, but I think it would have been cool if the Cave Spider used the Mario 64 Scuttlebug since it's very different and still iconic. Plus there are plenty of enemies that get reused for multiple mobs later on. As for my final F tier entry, this is a bit different as it's not necessarily ugly by itself. That would be 76, the Husk. He's supposed to be a sledge bro, and all things considered, I think they translated that over fairly well. My problem is the choice of the sledge bro at all. The normal zombie is being represented by a hammer bro, which we'll get to in a little while. Now I can understand why they would want both the zombie and Husk to be similar. I mean in normal Minecraft, the Husk is just a zombie variant. However, the hammer and sledge bros are barely different. If you mix them together in a crowd, it would be near impossible to tell which are zombies and which is the imposter. That's not the case at all for zombies and husks in normal Minecraft, so I think a bigger retexture should have been done here. The worst part is, there's a super obvious choice in the form of the fire bro. I mean, the husks are desert zombies, so the heat-based bro type seems like a perfect fit. The red shell and helmet would contrast way better, so I'm honestly shocked they didn't do this. Now the fire bro is used on another mob we'll get to later, but let's just say it doesn't fit that mob well at all. So yeah, while the texture isn't really ugly, it's a huge disappointment. And now we have what might be our quickest tier, the D tiers. This is made up of 11 mobs, however they're unique as they actually don't have an origin in the Mario series. They're just made to be slightly more cartoony to fit with the Mario aesthetic, which I guess is fair enough. Obviously they have to place low because of that, but none of them look bad. So the worst of this tier is 75, the polar bear. It literally just got some gray pixels, how exciting. 74, the camel, orange. 73, the mule, 72, the donkey, and 71, the zombie horse. Not much to really say on these guys because they're just very close to the default. 70, the llama, and 69, the trader llama. As I said, basically just a more cartoony version of the original mob. I do want to mention now that we're here though, that all variants of a mob will be included in the same spot. That does give mobs with variants a bit of an advantage, but I think it makes the most sense to do it this way. 68, the snow golem. This one was a little bit weird to rank because the Mario series has plenty of snowman this guide could be referencing, but I guess it just said, I'm gonna do my own thing. Despite that though, I think it looks really cute. I especially like the Mario face that you can see when you shear the pumpkin off. Hello. 67, the pig. I'm putting this above what we've seen so far because I like that they tried to make it very different from the normal Minecraft pig with the mud spots. 66, the parrot. I gave this a slight edge over the pig due to having 5 different variants to account for. I will say though, this was a completely missed opportunity to reference the flipping bird that I hate. I've done it. I've saved children from curse words. 65, the horse. And we have finally arrived at the best one of this tier. On top of having a bunch of different variants, there was a pretty important reason why the horse got to score so highly within the D tiers. The horse was actually planned to have a reference. Now that may seem like a bit of questionable reasoning. If they removed the reference, shouldn't this guy be lower? Well, let me just show you what they were originally planning horses to look like. Yeah, I love Yoshi's as much as the next guy. Wait, no I don't, what am I talking about? But this is just horrific. I will personally take the simple cartoony horses over the Yoshi nightmare fuel. But now it's time for our C tiers. We're back to guys that actually have references. The mobs in this tier are just ones with mediocre textures or a bit of a weird reference. Starting us off with 64, the tropical fish. Now just looking at them, it may not seem like they're based on anything. If you don't know how tropical fish in Minecraft work, each one spawn with a random combination of colors over top of one of 2 different models. So because of that, it's kind of hard to reference anything if you don't know what the colors are going to be. According to the website, these are modeled to be slightly closer to Cheep Cheep, which makes complete sense because, you know, fish. They did the best they could here, so I won't hold it against them, but yeah, it really can't go much higher. 63, the goat. This one I think just looks a bit weird due to how low the face is. It's a reference to the goats that appear on the Mario Kart 7 track Daisy Hills, which is a really obscure choice. Due to how low the face is though, I can't even say they look that similar, but I respect the effort, I guess. 62, the Evoker. The reference this time around is super obvious, being a Magic Koopa, but they gave it MLG sunglasses for some reason. There's another mob that does a much better job as a Magic Koopa later, so this just feels like a really weird reuse. I guess both the Evoker and Magic Koopa do magic, but it's still a bit wonky. 61, the Vindicator. I guess we're sticking with Illagers for a bit longer. Here we have the mob that's using the Fire Bros kit I mentioned back in the Husk segment. Thing is though, this is really strange. For one, Vindicators are not a zombie variant, so there was no need to make it a bro. Secondly, the Vindicators have nothing to do with fire or heat, so the choice is even more random. I mean, sometimes they burn down their house, but you know. And thirdly, they gave the Fire Bro this really weird jacket, which it does not have in the Mario series. I have no idea why they did this, but it just looks really weird. The only reason I'm putting it above the Evoker is because nothing else in the game is a Fire Bro. 60, the Zombie Villager. To be honest, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with this one. So as I said, zombies are meant to be Hammer Bros, but what we haven't seen yet are the fact that villagers are Piantas. Now just looking at the two side by side, you could tell that they have almost no similarities. So it may come as a shock that for the Zombie Villager, they tried to combine them. Yeah, I get why they did this since they have to show the zombie villager's profession, but it turned out rough, I'm sorry. They tried their best, but I don't think it was very successful. 59, the Stray. Now my favorite Mario character of all time is Dry Bones. Dry Bones for Smash. So it made me very happy that he's the focus for many of the mobs we'll be seeing throughout this video, which makes sense as he's the Mario skeleton, and there are a lot of skeletons. While the others all do a good job repping Dry Bones, this one you can tell was a bit of a rush job. It's literally just a Dry Bones holding a Super Gem, which as far as I'm aware, isn't something he ever does. The Super Gem was a collectible in Captain Toad's treasure tracker, and I don't think it has anything to do with the Stray's abilities. So this decision just feels super random. Maybe I'm wrong and someone could better explain, but I don't think this choice makes any sense. 58, the Glow Squid. Obviously the squid had to be the blooper, so we'll be seeing it a bit later. So in turn, the Glow Squid is as well, but textured to match Minecraft's Glow Squid color scheme. The wiki says it's allegedly based on a stone blooper, but I genuinely think that's just coincidence. So while this is a mostly original rendition of a blooper, I can't really blame it too much. 57, the Hoglin. Now at first I thought this was supposed to be a Mecha Koopa, but no, it's actually a variant of them known as a Micro Mecha Bowser. I can kind of understand the choice, but something about the texture just looks a bit weird to me. That's also the case for 56, the Zoglin. This guy is actually based on the Blastomecha Koopa. I like that more as an origin because that's an enemy original to the Mario Maker series, specifically Mario Maker 2. I just think it's cool that this game got referenced referenced here, even if I still don't love the texture itself. 55 the tadpole, and 54 the frogs. I think it's important that these two are considered together since obviously tadpoles grow up to become frogs. Honestly, it's a bit weird that they even have separate spawn eggs. The tadpole is based on the madpole from 3D World, and yep, sounds pretty fitting to me. The frogs on the other hand are based on green, red, and blue Kleptoads from Mario Galaxy 2. Now also, I just have to say, look at how they matched up these frogs. The green Minecraft frog is not the green Mario frog, why would they do that? The reason I'm not bringing these guys up much higher is because both the frogs and tadpoles still look pretty basic, plus the red and green variants are actually Minecraft original since only the blue ones exist in Galaxy 2. 53 the villager. Now this one might be a bit controversial. These guys are based on the Piantas from Super Mario Sunshine, which I guess is a fair enough choice. Honestly though, I think Toads would have been better, especially considering there isn't a single mob made to look like them. Well, regardless, we're stuck with the Piantas, and they look real strange. I understand it was a lot of work designing types for all the different professions, but I just don't think the villager model fits with the Piantas very well, especially considering their weird cut-off arms. I'm sure some people will be mad at me because Piantas are pretty cool, but I'm sorry, these guys just look really whack to me. 52 the drowned. Now what this guy is may not be very clear at first, but it's actually the Chincho, the mummies from Super Mario Odyssey. First off, I'm obviously a sucker for Mario Odyssey, so I was bound to like these guys. Problem is though, they kind of established a bros theme with the zombies, so this feels out of place. Not to mention the Chincho has absolutely nothing to do with water in Mario Odyssey. I guess it's used in a boss fight that has ice, which is just frozen water, but that seems like a stretch. I still appreciate the Odyssey reference, but I can't really put this guy much higher. 51 the Phantom. This is the only list this thing won't score last place on. It's based on the Ray from Mario Galaxy, which is definitely the closest thing to the Phantom design-wise. Mechanically, it doesn't fit that well, but I think the choice is still understandable. The face does also look a bit weird since the eyes are just flat on the torso, but that's probably the best they could do. 50 the Axolotl. This is based on the Splounder enemies from 3D World, and I can't think of a better fit. It is funny how they basically just ripped the Axolotl's limbs off. I don't really have many complaints for this guy, besides the fact that I don't like how there's a normal and pink variant. They just look too similar, and I would have liked something more unique. 49 the Wither. To end off C tier, we got the first of our boss mobs, and it's clearly a piranha plant of some kind. Specifically, this is listed as a Smilax, which is a 3-headed piranha plant from Super Mario RPG. I mean, that's just about the best choice they could have gone with for the Wither. This boss has a very unique design, so the fact that they were able to get anything even remotely close is pretty cool to see. It's obviously not a perfect fit since the Wither flies around and stuff, but I congratulate them for making a pretty good choice all things considered. And now we've made it to our B tiers. These guys are all pretty solid references with mostly solid texture work. Kicking us off, we have 48 the cod and 47 the salmon. Being fish, these two are obviously based on green and red Cheep Cheep respectively. There was really no other reasonable choice, so the only thing holding them back is the texture work itself. Since they had to stick to the Minecraft model, they do look a little bit weird being so stretched out compared to the normal round Cheep Cheeps. I'm not going to hold it against them too much though, because this is perfectly fine. 46 the Wandering Trader. Now you may expect this guy to just be another Pianta, but you'd be wrong. It's actually the raccoon from Mario Sunshine instead. This is a pretty cool choice. It still fits with the Mario Sunshine theme of the villagers, but it's off doing its own thing like the Wandering Trader is. Now with that being said, it's still not perfect. It has that weird cut off arm thing again to get around the crossed arms, which I just don't like. His proportions are also a bit wonky compared to the source material, but overall I think this is a solid choice. 45 the Mushroom and 44 the Cow. I'm covering these two together because they have the same origin, being the Moo Moo, which most people probably know as the cows from Mario Kart tracks like Moo Moo Meadows. Look how inviting that smile is. Really the only reason this guy's in B tier is because the Moo Moos are pretty much just cows, so it's not the most exciting texture change. Now the Mushroom would normally be lower for being mostly original, but I did appreciate how they have both red and green variants for the Super Mushrooms and 1-Up Mushrooms. 43 the Creeper. Being Minecraft's most iconic mob, this guy's got a pretty unique design, so finding something to fit it is difficult. Luckily, I think they did a decent job with the Pokey, specifically the original Pokey from Mario 2 USA. I appreciate that decision a lot as the green color scheme obviously fits with the Creeper better, and they already used the yellow Pokey for cactuses. Now it's a lot easier to tell which one won't blow you up. Unfortunately, I do think the texture is a bit messy, especially with all the holes in the model, which isn't really a trait the Pokies have. Still, I think they did a decent job. 42 the Zombie. We've mentioned him plenty of times up until this point, but in case you stopped paying attention because you wanted to watch some Family Guy funny moments, these guys are based on Hammer Bros. I don't really have a strong opinion on this choice. It's not like Hammer Bros are related to zombies at all, but they're a common enough Mario enemy to fit being the most common Minecraft enemy. The texturing looks fine here too, so yeah, there's really not much else to say. 41 the Slime. The choice for this one is really funny. It is obviously based off the Thwomp, which is a fairly fitting reference as it's also a square that moves up and down. While I absolutely love the idea for this retexture, I do have to question the actual texture work here. I'm not sure why it's like this, but looking at the Thwomp from most angles just has the sides go completely invisible. This is genuinely pretty distracting and it sort of ruins the model for me. So while I do really appreciate what they were going for, I can't say it was done that well. 40 the Ender Dragon. They took a bold choice with this one. He is based on Gobblegut from Mario Galaxy 2, but most people probably recognize this guy as the inspiration for the Track Dragon Driftway away from Mario Kart 8. Now the reason this is so bold is because the Ender Dragon normally has wings, but Gobblegut does not. So for this retexture, they're just completely gone. That makes him look really strange to me, but I also can't help but respect the choice. I could see this causing a lot of confusion during the fight as to where its hitbox is, which is a pretty big problem, but I still like the idea, so I'm giving it a B tier. 39, the Enderman. I think this choice is just extremely funny. Endermen are known for being long and lanky, so finding something that fits it perfectly could have been a bit challenging. Luckily for them, someone saw the Shy Guy on stilts from Yoshi's Island and said, hey, that kind of looks like
an Enderman.
Now this wasn't a perfect fit since the stilt guy normally only has 2 stilts whereas the version in Minecraft has 4, but I can look past that. This is a funny concept and executed fairly well. Obviously though, this guy's mechanics are nothing like an Enderman in Minecraft. I mean, I've never seen a stilt guy teleport. What was, no, but I think I could look past the mechanics and place him up here. 38, the Dolphin. This was a super obvious choice being the Dolphin from the Mario series. Who could have guessed? I think the choice is absolutely perfect, but it does have a minor issue. It looks like it ran face first into a wall. I know there's not much they can do about the nose based on Minecraft's model, but it does genuinely look a bit wonky. 37, the Allay. This is a pretty cute reference being the green Sprixie princess who is famous for their appearance in the legendary Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. While I do think this is a pretty cool reference to 3D World, I do have to admit it looks a bit soulless. What did they do to her joy and whimsy? 36, the Turtle. I mean, this obviously had to be the Koopa Troopa, but specifically, this is actually the Koopas from Super Mario All-Stars. Honestly though, I don't love this color scheme compared to the famous yellow we have today. There is another mod that's a Koopa later that makes up for this though, so I'll just put the turtle around here on the list. 35, the Wither Skeleton. Here we have ourselves a variant of Dry Bones that actually exists. This is based on the Dark Bones enemies from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I would say this is a pretty fitting reference. I mean, Wither Skeletons are just dark skeletons after all. Only thing holding this back is the fact that I would feel bad about too many Dry Bones variants placing highly because we still have a couple more to go through. This just being a simple recolor of a texture they already did does make this a bit less impressive than some of the others coming up. I still love you, Dry Bones. 34, the Ravager. This is an absolutely perfect reference being Reznor from Super Mario World. For the most part, I think they did a pretty good job here, but there is one glaring flaw. If you take a look at the legs, you'll see that this is another case of the model being broken. This was probably done to make the Ravager's legs shorter, but honestly, it's a bit distracting. 33, the Ocelot. This was a super hard one to rank because it just kind of goes with the cat retexture we'll see in a while. Since that one has a bunch of variants and the Ocelot is sad with only one, I'm putting it quite a bit lower. This is based on Cat Mario from 3D World, and I think that is a pretty solid fit. 32, the Fox. This is a slight step up from the Ocelot as it represents 2 power-ups, this time being Kitsune Luigi and White Tanuki Mario for the snow variant. These both look really cute and were such creative choices for the retexture. Really the only thing holding them back is the fact that Kitsune Luigi does look a bit generic, but throwing on White Tanuki Mario 2 definitely helped this one out a lot. 31, the Shulker. This guy is based on the Piranha Creeper from 3D World, which is another choice I think is pretty creative. Now, it's not an absolute perfect fit. I mean, the Shulker on the inside is just some weird orange orb. I mean, it's probably the Piranha Creeper's tongue, but it's honestly hard to tell. I was originally going to place this guy lower, but I appreciate this choice more when considering Shulker boxes. Since they come in multiple different colors, this allows them to represent a ton of different Piranha Plant types, which I think is pretty cool. Look, I can make the funny say psych right now guy. That meme is 5 years old. Considering shulker boxes may be a bit cheaty, but whatever, who cares, it's my list. 30, the Warden. In Minecraft, this guy's got a pretty unique design, so finding something that would fit it was going to be a challenge. While I wouldn't say anything is a perfect fit, their choice being Dry Bowser is really creative. Yes, the proportions do look pretty wonky, but you can't deny that this thing is pretty terrifying. If you saw this thing crawling up out of the ground, it definitely works as a jump scare, which is the main thing I think they needed the Warden to do. Obviously, due to the wonkiness, I can't place it super high, but I love the choice here. 29, the Panda. This one is a super biased placement because it's once again another Mario Odyssey reference, this time being to the Chivarians from the Snow Kingdom. They look so incredibly cute, and they even get slight variations in the face to match with their different panda types. Plus, the brown panda is replaced by the Chivarian racer design, which is such a good idea. Really, the only thing holding this back from being higher is the fact that it's not a perfect fit on the panda. Model-wise it fits, but seeing this guy all dressed up for winter in the middle of a jungle is a bit strange. Otherwise though, I absolutely love this. 28, the Vex. While I may despise how the Vex looks in modern Minecraft without his evil grin, I think the work they did on him here is pretty perfect. He's represented as a Paratroopa, and since they're the Mario series' most iconic winged enemy, that makes perfect sense. I also really like it it's a blue one specifically, which kind of references the blue shells from Mario Kart. Now I do have to say, according to the wiki, I think the original Vex model did look a lot better. I mean, look how stupid the eyes are in the new one. Ignoring that though, I still think this is a well done texture. 27, the Armadillo. This is actually our most recent reference, being the Armads from Super Mario Wonder. That probably gave it a bit of a boost in the rankings since I wasn't expecting a Mario Wonder reference this soon, but what can I say? It's pretty perfect. To be fair, the front of the face does look fairly odd, but I think they did the best they could. 26 the zombified piglin, 25 the piglin brute, and 24 the piglin. All three of these guys have similar ideas to one another, so I might as well rank them together. They're all based on bosses, being Pom Pom, the Sumo Bro, and Boom Boom respectively. I think all three of these guys fit surprisingly well over top of the different models. I especially like how they use the piglin snout on both Pom Pom and Boom Boom to perfect their face shape. I'd say they all work together to boost themselves up too, by all fitting with a similar boss theme. As for their order, I just did it in the order I like them as characters. Honestly, all three of these are pretty much tied. 23 the spider. As I mentioned earlier in this video, this guy is of course based on the Scuttlebug. There was really no other choice, seeing as this guy's been the Mario spider enemy across several games up until this point. Really the only thing holding this guy back is just the face. It looks like he's chill with a smile, which I don't think is what they were going for. I imagine it was hard to capture the right look, but I still think they could have done a bit better. But now it's time for our A tiers. These guys are nearly perfect, so they're actually going to go by pretty quick since I don't really have much to critique on them. 22 the bee. This guy's based on the Sting Bee enemy from Mario 3D World, and I'd say that's a pretty great fit. I guess this does have minor flat face syndrome, but I don't mind it too much here compared to something like the dolphin we saw before. 21 the bat. Obviously this guy had to be based on the Mario series bat, the Swooper. I have always really liked this enemy's blue and purple color scheme, so that got me to bring it up a bit higher than the Sting Bee. 20 the pufferfish. While it may not look like anything at first, as the little guy puffs up, you'll be able to see that it's a porcupuffer. This is a fairly prevalent enemy in the Mario franchise, and I think it looks really funny scaled down. I do think the normal state is a bit too small for me to bring it much higher, but its look in the puffed up state is great. 19 the Endermite. Okay, this one is just incredibly funny. Them squishing down a Buzzy Beetle to fit the Endermite's model just looks so stupid. I mean, it's literally just a retextured block with no limbs whatsoever. While that may make it seem like it deserves to place lower, I think the sheer dumbness of this texture made me a fan. 18 the Silverfish. In a similar vein to the Endermite, we got ourselves another super small mob, but this time I think it fits a bit better with the Wiggler going over the Silverfish. Not only is this really cute, but I love that they were still able to put the flower on the top of its head. That detail really sells this. 17 the Pillager. Well, it's Mario Odyssey bias time, but really, how could you blame me? The Pillager here is being replaced by Rango, making this the only brutal from Mario Odyssey to be represented in this mashup pack. I would say he fits very well over the Pillager's model proportion-wise, and he's the brutal known for throwing his head around, so having him be the projectile-based Pillager makes sense. I can't really think of anything that would have been a better choice, so I'm just happy Rango got to show up. 16 the Strider. Continuing our Mario Odyssey streak here, we have the Uproot, which is one of my favorite captures from that game. Due to the Strider's very unique design, I think the Uproot is pretty much the only logical choice for it. Of course, this does come with the downside of the functionality not really matching. The Strider is all about walking on lava, but trying to do the same with the Uproot... Still, I love the choice at the end of the day, and the texture work here is phenomenal. I also really like how the eye color changes from the normal Uproot eyes to the Mario eyes depending on if the Strider is cold or not. 15 the Squid. I mean, there was really no other choice than the blooper for this guy. This has been a Mario enemy ever since the original game, so it's pretty dang iconic. I also think they did a good job with the texturing for the most part. The shape does feel a bit weird, but there's not much they could have done about that. 14 the Wolf.
What the dog doing?
This guy is actually based on a character from the Yoshi series being Poochie, though he did eventually appear in Super Mario Odyssey too. He does have a bit of flat face, but I can forgive it based on Poochie's design. It's also cool how there are a bunch of different colors now for all the wolf variants, though most of them are entirely original. Overall, I think this was pretty much the best choice they could have had for a dog. Can you imagine if they tried to do a chain chomp? 13 the Elder Guardian. Here we have the return of the Porcupuffer, but this time it's always in its puffed up state. Seeing as that was my main problem with the pufferfish, I'm pretty comfortable placing this guy up super high. Plus the Porcupuffer has always been sort of a mini boss in the main series, so fitting it over top of the Elder Guardian is pretty perfect. Not to mention it's also of course perfect being in the water. 12 the Guardian. Just barely passing its Elder counterpart, the normal Guardian is actually based on Mario Urchins. I really appreciate the fact that they did two entirely different references for both of these guys. I mean, they easily could have made the Elder Guardian the big urchin, which would have been so much lamer. The urchin here translates over very well, especially since they decided to remove the Guardian's tail. By this point in the list, I really don't have any more complaints. 11 the Sniffer. While obviously not as perfect of a match, this one is too funny to deny being high up on the list. Here we have another bit of Wiggler representation, but this time it's made super fat to fit with the Sniffer's model. I especially like how massive the schnoz is on this guy. I would also say this is a fairly good choice due to the Sniffer's multiple legs and its use to find flowers. But now it's time for our top 10 in S tier. Really, these aren't that much better than our A's, I just felt like separating the top 10. Kicking us off, we have 10 the Chicken. I can't think of a better mob to put this guy over. The chicken size is perfect, and it just looks really funny too. Of course, there are some weird things like how the Goomba just slowly floats down for no reason now, but the Goomba had to be represented somewhere. It's the most iconic Mario enemy beside Bowser himself. 9 the Magma Cube. This is an absolutely perfect fit. He's replaced by the Lava Bubble, which is in nearly every mainline Mario game. These guys are known for bouncing around, and that's exactly what the Magma Cube does. Since Magma Cubes are also found in the Nether, the lava aesthetic is pretty perfect. Really, the only criticism I could maybe think of is that the way the Magma Cube splits apart heart when it jumps isn't super accurate to the lava bubble, but that is such a minor issue. 8. The Ghast. Sticking with some nether mobs, the Ghast has been replaced by a Boo. Again, another pretty perfect one. The Ghast flies around and so do Boos. While Boos aren't normally found in lava levels, the nether is supposed to be hell-like, so seeing ghosts there still fits pretty well. I have pretty much no complaints. 7. The Witch. We have finally made it to our other mob representing Kamek after seeing him all the way back as the Evoker. This retexture was done so much better though. Not only do the glasses fit here more, but we actually get to see Kamek's iconic hat here. The Witch is also a very magic-based enemy, so Kamek is a pretty perfect fit as well. Happy we could see such a dramatic improvement. Really, I have no idea what they were thinking with the Evoker. 6. The Blaze. The Minecraft Blaze is one of the most unique designs in the game, just being a head surrounded by fire and floating rods. With a design that different, you may think it would be near impossible to find something that fits, but they actually managed to get an enemy that's near 1-to-1 with the Blaze, being the Flame Chomp. Not only does it fit being a floating head with fire around it, but in the Mario series, it also shoots out fire just like the Blaze. The Flame Chomp is also a fairly well-known enemy, so the fact that they could get it represented at all is fantastic. So for the fact that they were not only able to find a visual match for the Blaze, but one that fits even better functionally, it gets to place super high up on the list. 5. The Skeleton Horse, and 4. The Skeleton. Okay, fully ready to admit that I'm biased here. As I've said, my favorite Mario character is Dry Bones, and these are both Dry Bones. I mean, there was really no other choice as he is the Mario skeleton, and I think these both look great. I love that the Skeleton Horse leans more towards the original design where they walked on all fours, and the skeleton is the modern design. Really, I don't have too much more to add, this is just perfect. 3. The Sheep. This is our other mob based on the Koopa Troopa, and it is surprisingly a perfect fit. The main gimmick behind Minecraft sheep is the fact that you can shear them and dye them in multiple colors. This fits perfectly with the Koopa's shell from the mainline series, which can both be removed and comes in different colors. If you decide to shear the shell off, you can even see the t-shirts that Koopas always wear underneath their shells. However, I do have to criticize one thing. For some reason, all of the shell colors are shades of green rather than the actual dye color. That makes them really confusing, and if this wasn't the case, the sheep definitely would have been number 1 on the list. 2. The Cat. We got a bunch of different variants to run through, which are all pretty great. These all come from 3D World, being Lucky Cat Mario, Cat Peach, Cat Luigi, Cat Toad, White Cat Mario, Meowser, a gray kitten, a red kitten, and a purple kitten. These all look fantastic, but there is one problem. Cat Rosalina is here, so this is actually the worst mob, 80th place. See? Told you I could do it. Okay, no, but actually the only thing is just the fact that they didn't change one of the cat's designs. This being the famous cat design based on Jelly. It's literally left completely untouched, not even made to be a bit more cartoony. I'm not really sure why they did that, but the other cats are all great enough for me to still put this at number 2. But as for my absolute favorite mob in the Mario Mashup pack, we have 1, the Rabbit. There are a lot of different rabbit variants in Minecraft. Luckily, there are a lot of rabbits in the Mario series as well, so each rabbit design actually has a completely unique reference, which is super cool. Going down the list, we have the Snow Bunny from Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the Star Bunny from Mario Galaxy, Yoshi's Rabbits from Mario 64 DS, the Rabbits from 3D World, the Silver Rabbits from Mario 64 DS, Mario's Rabbits from Mario 64 DS, and of course, Mips from Mario 64. The fact that there were so many references here is great, and these each look really good. The only problem I can think of is the tragedy of the Killer Rabbit. If you didn't know, the Killer Rabbit is a cut mob from Minecraft, which I've always found to be really funny. Despite its removal, it does still have a texture in the Mario Mashup pack, which was supposed to be Nabbit. This is such a good retexture, and it makes me so very sad that we don't get to see it. But even without the Nabbit cameo, the sheer amount of references here makes me think the Rabbit easily deserves to be called the best mob in the Mario Mashup pack. But anyways, that's it for this video. Do you love the Cyan Parrot in the Mario Mashup pack and hate me for not ranking it higher? Let me know in the comments. This turned out to be a super long video, but I hope you all enjoyed it because I had a lot of fun with this. Hopefully the video footage didn't turn out too terrible because like I said, Bedrock Edition is not my strong suit. Before we end though, I gotta make sure to thank my channel members being Sir Musty, Ryan, Dscript, Kid Trunks 15, Belandor, Puggles Are Fun, Trader Mo, Diluted Colors, Void 11, Cinder CC, Shrugface Uwu, Jade Avery, Pruncel Clone, Thicky Reiki, SJ100, Ungenio TM, Gnarled, CW McCain, Tibby, Hypersaint, JubeTube, Z, Tesseract, Maker, Nuclear, Mr. McMahon 5702, I Am Not Denny BG, Sebi, Hippopotamus, Thick Rib, Starfish, Jameson Pageson, Wilbur, Golden Slash 15, Frost, Stuffy Ant, Just Dex, Hezekiah, Concanut, Keep, and Christian Flattery Sequel Edition. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.